this month we're going to work on a solo rendition of Fire and Rain by James Taylor. This was voted on over at my Patreon page, so if you'd like to help decide next month's tutorial, be sure to check out the link below. You can also download the tab if you sign up, so please check it out if you haven't already. But let's go ahead and dive into Fire and Rain. We're going to start this off with the intro, which is a really iconic part to this song. And while this isn't exactly what James Taylor played, it's pretty close and adapted on the uke. We're going to start here with a slide into 4 on the C. So the way we do that is we're going to take our middle finger, and we're going to actually play the 2nd fret of the C string and slide it up to 4 on the C. The trick to getting a good slide is when you play that note on 2, when you slide it up to the 4, you want to increase the pressure just a little bit so that you can sustain that sound. Now after we do that, you'll notice it's going to play the 3 on the A, but the way that we're going to play that 3 on the A is we're going to bar with our index finger across the 3rd fret of the E and the A strings. And the reason for this is because right after we play the 3 on the A, we're going to play the 3 on the E. So this sets it all up. Now, if you find that that bar is difficult, make sure you're getting right up next to the fret wire and pinching over those 2 strings. With practice, it'll come and you'll get a good tone. It's a lot like a B flat chord, just up. So we have to start here, the 4 sliding, and then 3 on the A, 3 on the E. Then you're going to play 4 on the C again. And then you're going to slide it down to 2 on the C. So it's just the opposite of what we started with. So we'll play the 4 and slide it down to the 2. Now when you slide it down, a tip to make sure it sounds good is make sure that the slide stops right as you're getting over the fret wire. If you slide too far down like this, it's easy to get a bad tone. So going from here to here instead of down further. And after we do the slide to 2, just like that, we're then going to have that bar with the index finger still there, just now over the A string and E string on the 1st fret instead of the 3rd. And so you'll notice everything is built into that for that first bar. So that whole first measure looks and sounds something like this. And then as we go on to the second measure here, we're going to take our index finger and we're going to have it come off that bar and just play the 1st fret on the E string. And we're going to strum our 0 on the C, 0 on the E, 0 on the A together. Then play 3 on the E with our ring, an open A, and then the 3 on the E again. Then at this point, there's some crazy 16th notes happening with some pull-off. So the way we play this is we're going to have our middle finger ready to go. We're going to play the 2nd fret on the C string with our middle finger, and then we're going to pull off to open. Now to do a pull-off here, what I like to do is I like to actually pluck the string with my finger, and you'll notice that I actually go into the E string with my middle finger here. And the reason for that is so that I can make sure that I don't have that E string ring. If I do a pull off and I have the fingers come all the way down, I'm going to get more notes ringing. And so by doing this, I can get that really nice articulate pull off without any other notes playing. So we have, and then we do it again. Now, pull-offs take a little bit of practice, so if you've never done one before, be sure to just sit and get those repetitions in. And then as we go to measure 3 now, you'll notice it's actually very similar to measure 1, just a little bit simpler. It's going to start on 4 of the C, and then the 3 on the E and the A, which is that same shape we did before. The middle finger here on 4 of the C, index finger barred across the 3 on the E and the A. And then we're going to play the 4, move it down to the 2, and then the 1s should still be barred. So same sort of section. All right, so it's that same shape that's just moving down. So bar 3 looks something like this. And then to finish this little intro section, we're going to go to measure 4. And at measure 4, we're going to play 3, 2, 1, 0. So we take our ring finger, play the 3rd fret of the G string, middle finger, play the 2nd fret of the C, and index here on the 1st fret of the E string. We're going to strum through all 4 strings. And then we're going to play G, C, E, A, all rapidly. And then we'll complete it with a C, E, C. You'll notice that all of the notes here in measure 4 are in that initial chord, so there's no movement in the left hand after we play that first part. So now this whole intro, which honestly I think is one of the harder parts of the song, should sound something like this in time for those first 4 bars. Something like... Now from this point, we're going to go on to the B section, or the verse, and you'll notice that this is where the lyrics start to make an appearance for what we're playing. So as you're working on this, you can know when something is a melody note by there being a lyric associated with it, and you can know that's a filler note, something that the guitar would do in the background based on there being no lyric with it. So starting right off the bat, pretty simple. We're going to play all open on the G, C, and E, and that's the word just. And then yesterday is all open E, pretty straightforward. And then once we get to morning, more of morning, we're going to play 2 on the C string with the middle finger and 1 on the E string with the index finger. And we're going to strum through our G, C, and E strings together. And that's more. And then ning will be the 2C. And then they let me, the words, are going to be 2C, 1E, 2C, which you'll notice is already fretted with that chord that we just played. So that measure 5, is just yesterday morning they let me. Now the timing of this, it's more important that you're sort of feeling the song. So if you're not familiar with this song, go listen to the original a whole bunch so that you can get sort of the pacing that James Taylor uses for these words, and worry less about counting it exactly and worry more about hearing that melody and playing those words on your ukulele. Then after we play that, we're going to measure 6. We're going to go, know you were gone. And for know you were gone, pretty straightforward. We're going to take the index finger, play it here on the first fret of the A string, play the C, E, and A together. No. Then the ring finger is going to come on the 3 of the E string, you. And then take the ring finger off. If we leave our index still there, we're there at 1. And that's were. And then we add the ring finger back onto 3 of the E, and strum the G, C, and E strings, stopping at the A. And that gives us gone. So we have know you were gone. Now you'll notice at the end of this measure, there's these 4 notes, but no lyric associated. That's because this is essentially a fill, and we want to make sure that we're getting a little bit quieter of a sound as we do this so that the listener knows that this is not the melody. This is more the guitar in the background. What's cool about it, though, is it's exactly the same as what we played on measure 2 at the end. It's the 2 pull off to 0 twice, the exact same thing. So measure 6 with that introduced will be know you were gone. As we go into 7 now, you'll notice that 7 is going to start off with these 2 notes with no words. So it's actually the conclusion of the little riff from the end of 6. So we're going to play 2 and slide it up to 4. We're going to use that the same way that we did at the very first part of the song, at the very beginning of the intro, that 2 slide to 4, all right? So the whole riff now, end of 6 into the beginning of 7 is... And now we're going to go back to the melody, which you'll see the words here are Suzanne, the plans they made, put an, and then going into the bar 8, end to you, right? So to play this, we just slid up to 4. We're going to play the open E and take our hand away from the ukulele, because then we're going to need our ring finger to go to 3 on the E string twice. So we have Suzanne the, and then for plans, we leave our ring finger here, and we just add our middle finger to 2 of the C and strum through all 4 strings. And that's plans, 3 on the E, they made, and then we're going to take our ring finger off and have our index here on 1 of the E, put, and then take that off, un. So Suzanne, the plans they put un, should sound like this. Suzanne, the plans they made, put un. And now we go to 8, and we're going to play that 3-2-1-0 chord again that we played earlier in the song. But we're only going to play the G, C, and E string. So we're going to stop at the A string. So strum stopping at the A, and then we're going to take off the E string, and and then we're going to take off the C string. And that's N to U. Now I leave the ring finger here on 3 because the very next chord that we're going to play goes back to this 3-2-1-0. So by leaving the ring finger, you're braced and ready to just reapply those other 2 fingers. So we have N to U, and then we follow it with the full chord, reapplying those fingers. And then we're going to play G, C, E, A. Much like what we did on measure 4 earlier in the song. And now this concludes that first whole stanza of measures 5 through 8 of the verse. So it should sound something like this when we play it through. I'm going to say the words as we go as well. So it's just yesterday morning they let me know you were gone, filler. Suzanne, the plans they made put an end to you. Right? So I made a couple little mistakes in there. When you're reading it through like this, it can be tricky to read and follow the notes and everything else. And that's where practice really comes into play. And when you're trying to memorize this song, it gets easier when you know what the words are and you know what to play. It's sort of funny because I didn't know the words to the song before I started doing the arrangement. So I had to kind of look them up and everything else, and still trying to remember them. But it is a good song. So now we go into measure 9, and what's cool about this is 9 is very similar to 5. It's sort of a second repeat of this verse with some small variations. So we start with the open G, C, and E strings, I, and then walked out this morning and I. So a little bit different because we're going to play all open for the word I, open E, walked out, and then 1 on the E for this. And then add the middle finger on 2 of the C and strum the G, C, and E strings together. Morning, take the finger off, and I, right? And then we go to measure 10, and measure 10 is similar to measure 6. We're going to start with 0, 1, 0, 0 on the C, 1 on the E, open on the A, not playing the G string. Strum through those 3 strings, and that's wrote, and then play the A again, down. Add 3 on the E, this, and then the G, C, and E strings with that 3 on the E still there, song. And then we're going to do filler again, the same little riff that we did before. As we go right into measure 11, we're going to play all open without the A string, and that's going to be the word I, and then just open on the E, and can't re, 3 on the E with the ring finger twice. And then mem of member, we're going to play 2 on the C with our middle finger and hold the ring finger there still on the 3E and strum through all 4 strings. Mem, and then 3 on the E. Burr, one more time. Who, and then take the ring finger off to 1 on the E. 2. And as we keep going here, we go on to measure 12. What's really cool about this is that 3-2-1-0 chord that we've been playing. That's what we're playing here. But as you're playing into it, the word 2 that you played just before should be the 1 on the E. You should already have the 2 on the C, which means all that you actually have to do is add the ring finger to 3 of the G and play the G, C, and E strings together. Send, then open E, it, 2, open C, through the 3-2-1-0, G, C, E, A. Same exact measure that we played on 8, exact same part. So you'll notice here that 9 through 12 is very similar as 5 through 8 with just some small variations, but the overall voicings are very, very similar. And so this is what 9 through 12 should sound like, nice and slow talking through the words. I walked out this morning and I wrote down this song. Filler. I just can't remember who to send it to. Filler. Now at this point, we're actually going on to section C, which is the chorus of the song. And the chorus is usually where the name of the song exists. And this is no different because the chorus starts with the words, I've seen fire and I've seen rain. Fire and rain, the name of the song. So as we go on to this section C, we're going to play an F chord. Take your middle finger, play 2 on the G string, index finger here on 1 of the E. We're going to strum through the G, C, and E strings together, and we're going to avoid the A string, and you'll notice there's no words here. So this is just a filler chord to kind of set up the bar. So we're going to play that F, and then I've seen, open on the A twice. And then we're going to take our middle finger, move it from the G string to the C string on the 2nd fret, and we're going to strum through all 4 strings. Fire, 3 on the E with the ring finger, and I've 1 on the E string with the index for seen. And then rain, we're going to add the ring finger here to 3 on the E, take off the other 2 fingers. Rain. So the beginning of the chorus should sound like, I've seen fire and I've seen rain. As we look right ahead here, there's a little filler, the same riff that we've been doing with those double pull-offs, right? Or the 2 consecutive pull-offs, I should say. And then we're going to play a C chord, 0, 0, 0, 3. We can do the 3 with our ring finger there. And that's a little filler line. And then it goes, I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. Now, that's a lot that I just walked through, but you can see that's the same sort of voicings that we've been playing throughout the song. It's just making sure that we line up those lyrics. So we play the open E on I've, 3 on the E for seen, and now we're into measure 15, sun, so the 1 on the E with our index finger, need days, 3 on the E, that I, 1 on the E, and then we're going to add the middle finger here to 2 on the C, play all 4 strings, thought would never, same sort of stuff that's being used. It's pretty cool because when you start the song, it might feel really confusing of all these voicings, but you'll see they just kind of come back again and again. So the whole first part of the chorus now, measures 13 through 15, should sound something like this. We have, I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never. Going right into 16, and we're going to play 0 on the G, C, and E strings together, stopping on the stopping on the A string. Then we're going to do our filler. Exact same riff we did before. Then we're going to play open E, I've, 3 on the E, seen, and then lonely. So we're going to play that same chord we've been playing throughout this part. 0, 1, 0 on the C, E, and A, not playing the G string. Lonely. And then I like this little run. I just think it sounds really melodic. What we're going to do is play the 3 on the A for times, and then the open A. You'll notice I use my ring finger there for that 3, but I'm still holding that 1 with my index. So lonely times, when, and then the 3 on the E with the ring, I, and then you have to make a very quick switch here. For could, we're going to be moving that ring finger out to 3 on the A and adding the middle finger on 2 of the C. Notice how I still have the index finger here on 1 of the E. I'm going to strum through all 4 strings. Could not, open on the A, 3 on the E with the ring finger that you just opened up, find, and then take that off, 1 on the E string, friend, adding the ring finger on 3 of the E. So measure 17, I think, is the most difficult of the song, or at least one of them. It should sound like this, right? Lonely times when I could not find a friend. As we go into 18, same little riff. And then open E twice for but I. Pretty straightforward there. So 16, 17, and 18 of the chorus should sound something like this. And filler. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I. And now we're in the home stretch, the final 3 bars of the song. We're going to start this with that same little B flat chord that we've been playing, the 3, 2, 1, stopping on the A string. And that's going to be all, and then ways, thought, all, 1 on the E, which is there. Then on the word that, we take that 1 off for an open E, and then place it back on. So we have always thought that I'd, always thought that I'd. And then for see you, we're going to play the 0 on the G. So you take your B flat and you just take your ring finger off, and you still leave the other 2 fingers, the 2 on the C and the 1 on the E. Strum the G, C, and G, C, and E strings. C, open E, U, open C. And then for again, this gets a little bit crazy. So what I like to do here is some finger picking. If you listen to the original version of this song, this is how he actually kind of ends the song as well as repeats it. Plays this really cool chord. It's in the original, I believe it's a G minor 7 over C, which is kind of what we're playing here. And so I like to do 2 different types of filler. When you look here at measure 20 and 21, 20 is more finger picking, and 21 is strumming. So it gives you 2 different ways to kind of fill out this section. On 20, after we play the word again, we're then going to play the 1 on the E and the A. So we're going to bar those 2 strings with the index finger. And then we can go to 4-finger picking or 3-finger picking, depending on what you have familiarity with. Go with what you're comfortable with. But if you don't know either of those techniques, there's a couple links down in the description below where you can see some stuff with these techniques. But after we play the 0 on the C, we're going to play the E and the A at the same time. And then G, C, E, A, G, C, E, A, G, C. So it's this little pattern that's walking through, going straight down. And so we have C, U again, and then as you look at 20, we're going to play the 1 on the E. That's going to be finger picked as sort of a conclusion of 20. And then it's going to go to this pattern on 21. And the strum pattern on 21 is actually kind of difficult because it's going to go down, but you'll notice that the note value here is actually going to be 3 strums. So what this means is we're going to go down, and then we're going to miss coming up and miss going down. And the next motion that we make will be an up strum hitting the strings. And the reason for that is this is a dotted 8th note, and the other ones are 16th notes. And a dotted 8th note is worth actually 3 16th notes. So we have 1, 2, 3 for the motions there. I know it can be a little bit confusing. If strumming and rhythms and things are something that you want more work with, I've got a great course I did with Ukulele Underground that's linked in the description below. But we've got that down, miss, miss, and then the pattern here is going to be up, miss, up, miss, up, down, down. So that thing sounds something like this. 21, we play that note, and then. So now 20 into 21 with that filler sort of stuff should sound something like this, where we have again, right? And then we go now into the verse. At this point, you'll see there's a repeat marker. It goes all the way back, not to the very beginning of the song because there's the intro, but back to measure 5 for the verse. And so this concludes the arrangement, but what's cool is the original song repeats this, I believe, 3 total times. And so you can repeat it kind of to taste. If you want to play it all the way through again and again, that's going to be more accurate to the original. You can also end it here if you want. I like to just kind of strum this chord and kind of repeat and fade and even make up your own rhythms, right? As long as your hand is moving down and up consistently, you're going to create something cool. And you can also pick it. Kind of neat. So at that point, it repeats, and you can play it as many times as you want to taste, and that is the arrangement of Fire and Rain by James Taylor. This is one of my favorites that I've worked on. It's sort of funny because I didn't know this song as well as I had hoped to. And what I mean by hope to is when I listened to it, I was thinking, how did I not know this song better? I was talking to some family and friends saying, this is the song that won, but I don't really know it that well. And they were all shocked that I didn't know it. So thank you so much to my patrons for voting on this song, for helping me learn what's a fantastic song much better. So one that I'll be playing for a while after this too. Again, the tab and everything else, including a lot more lessons, are available at my Patreon page. Here at this YouTube channel, though, all of the tutorials that I post are completely free and you can watch them. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe this. I'm going to be pushing the YouTube channel a little bit more as we do this, and it's grown quite a bit since this Patreon page has launched. So thank you guys all for the support. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I look forward to seeing you guys for the next one. Thanks so much.